In our increasingly image-conscious world, we're going to discuss a topic that impacts us all. It's the unrelenting anxiety that comes with body image. Our society is fixated with physical appearance and it takes its mental toll. So how do you stay body positive? We're joined by clinical psychologist Dr. Janine Smith. Welcome to Afternoon Express.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Now, this is a hot topic, isn't it, as a parent as well?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, it's kind of like oozes within our society. We see it, you know, with boys, girls, like you said, with across the spectrum.
Yes.
We see people struggling with body image issues, definitely.
I think one of the wonderful things about being alive at this moment is that we are part of the knowledge era, right? And because you know better, you've got to do better. So as a parent, for example, starting with the home, how do we start imparting positive knowledge to both our girls and our boys?
I'm so happy you said that because it really does start within the home, you know. Any interaction that a parent would have, because it's your primary attachment, it forms such an important basis for a child. So, you know, you can actually want to instill a positive body image in your child, but if they overhear you criticizing yourself or other people, or if by your behaviors you act in an incongruent manner, that's not going to go down well. They're not going to understand it. So children actually are modeled by what we do. So within the home, we have to be very consistent with what we say and what we actually end up doing and how we engage with this topic, because it's not just about telling them that they need to be positive and encouraging them. It's also about what we model to them.
So where do we start? I mean, it certainly starts with the partnerships in the home, right?
Yes.
It's how your partner speaks to you, how you ask your partner about the way you look, these little things that we need to take into account, not do I look fat in these jeans, you know, because that's, you know, that's a question that was asked decades ago and it just shouldn't be asked these days. If you want to be a conscious parent in the home, where do we start in terms of that awareness?
I think mindfulness about what we're engaging with, how we're engaging with things, and also, you know what, to actually start to acknowledge our insecurities and our inadequacies to begin with. Because I think that's important. Once we are aware of it, we will be able to manage ourselves accordingly.
And that's, Doctor, that's wonderful to say, but we also live in something called the social media age and the cyber world. And so how do we marry the reality of looking at everyone's highlight reel and this image of perfection?
That is such an important thing, because the reality is that it's not reality. And that's what we need to tell them. I mean, when we're looking at images and you're scrolling through images and you're looking at people's lives, what you're doing is you start to compare yourself immediately. That's the baseline. You're going to immediately look at yourself and look at this person and think of deficits that you have in relation to what you're seeing. So make them aware constantly that our social media is not reality. In fact, to engage more with real-life situations, real people, is very important.
Thank you for that. One of the things I always do with my kids is when they get drawn to aesthetics, I always ask them, what is healthy about you right now?
There we go.
You know, I always bring it back to what can you be grateful for?
That's fantastic, because you see what you're doing two things there. You're actually pointing to the function of our body and how it serves us. I mean, think about it, it's amazing. Like in the background, there's so many things happening to keep us alive and to make our children aware of these processes that will make them appreciate their bodies holistically.
Exactly.
And then what you're also doing there is, what I love is that you're not necessarily, you're looking at values. You're looking at not necessarily about what you look like, but what's healthy. Stamina, energy, what, you know, that's fantastic.
What's right about me.
What's right about me.
I'd like to address body dysmorphia, and I'm sure you come across a lot of that in your practice. Can you explain to us what body dysmorphia is and how that can relate to body positivity or lack of?
Okay, you see there are so many aspects to body image, right? It's about our perception, for example. That's how we see ourselves. Then it's about our cognition, what we think about ourselves. And then it's about how we feel about ourselves. And then all of these things culminates in how we eventually act, the behavior. Now, with body dysmorphic disorder, it's got to do with that perception aspect of it, the cognition, and maybe a little bit of an obsession to it. So you remember, many people, all of us have insecurities and inadequacies that we are aware of. But when it causes us distress, when we become obsessed with it, when it's all we can think about, when it's our main focus, and when it affects our functioning, that's where the problem lies. So, you know, body dysmorphic disorder is actually very distressing. It's very serious. And people actually really, really struggle with it. But it is absolutely treatable. That's the good news.
Where does one seek support?
I always say, choose your hard. Look, it is going to be difficult to take that step to seek help. You go to seek professional help, see a therapist, because they are trained to assist you.
Yeah.
But more so, there are therapy modalities that actually work, like CBT, DBT, the revolutionary program that I'm spearheading here in South Africa. It's BBRT. It works on neuroplasticity, and it assists you with those negative thoughts and those neural pathways that have been sort of reinforced over time. So I'm very excited about that.
I like that, because the thing is, if you don't change those mind patterns, you'll end up thinking the same way you thought the day before. And so it really becomes about action and changing that thought pattern. Thank you so much, Doctor. Remember that body positivity is about embracing diversity and accepting ourselves as we are. We'd love to hear from you. On social media, we'd like to know, positive self-talk can improve your body image. What is something that you love about your body? Leave your comments and remember to use the hashtag AfternoonExpress.